host, Josh. And this episode is brought to you by Great Lakes Disc. Whether you're looking for cool new gear or your new favorite disc, Great Lakes Disc has what you need. Click the link in the link tree and you'll see the Great Lakes Disc link. Click that and start your shopping today. While you're on the link tree, you'll also see a link for Idio Sports. If you want to take your game to the next level, make sure you get Idio shoes on your feet. The only disc golf shoes made by disc golfers for disc golfers. Also use my discount code disc.seeker to save money on your next order. Without further ado, I'll let my guest fully introduce himself and how he even got into disc golf and where does his journey actually begin.
Hey, my name is Paul, young Paul. I'm 15 years old from just outside the Milwaukee area. And my disc golf journey started around 3 years ago. I had noticed a red basket that my neighbor had bought, and I had no idea what it was. And I was just looking at it kind of every day, and I was like, what is it for? You know, it's kind of weird looking chains and the band, and it had the word Discraft on it. I didn't know what any of it meant. And then one day we had some family over, and my cousin, who happened to play disc golf, noticed it. So he went to his car. He happened to have his discs, and he just started throwing a couple at the basket. And I was like, hey, let me get a try. And then I was just hooked from there. The very next day, I went and got discs from a Play It Again Sports and was just kind of throwing all day in the backyard. And it just kind of kicked off from there.
That's pretty cool. So how long did it take you from that point to go out into an actual course and play like your first ever round?
I would say maybe probably a week or two. I was with that same cousin hanging out, and we decided we should go and play around. And I only had 2 discs still at the time, so he let me borrow a bunch of his, and we went to a short 18-hole pitch and putt course, basically, that's near me. So it was really easy for a beginner like me to get started.
That's really cool. So how did your first ever round go? Were you terribly awful or were you just naturally kind of gifted at it?
I can't remember that much, but I just remember really liking the forehand. I feel like I always kind of leaned on the forehand when I first started. The backhand, I feel like kind of had a lot more like parts to it, like the reach back, the footwork, while the forehand is kind of just a sidearm in baseball almost. So it kind of came naturally to me.
Yeah. So are you still forehand? You prefer the forehand or are you all backhand now?
I would say I could throw the backhand further, but if there's a really tight gap, I'd rather go with the forehand. I feel more accurate and confident with the forehand.
That's pretty cool. Are you a hyzer flip forehand player or are you a flexor?
I would say I lean more towards a hyzer release, not necessarily like a hyzer flip type shot, but I do like the hyzer release.
That's pretty cool. So how far are you pushing the backhand versus the forehand?
So my backhand, I would say I can push to around 480 if I really need it and I really get behind it. And that's like perfect wind too, like perfect day. And then the forehand, maybe I can get around 350 to 365 ish. So definitely a big difference between the two.
Yeah, you definitely got me beat on the backhand. I just started backhanding this year, and I could get maybe like 310, 315. So,
Hey, that's kind of all you need for local courses is a nice 300-foot backhand, and
yeah,
you're looking real good.
yeah, yeah. But if there's a forehand line, I'm taking that forehand all day long.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like if there was a 20-foot wide backhand line or a 10-foot wide forehand line, I feel like I would most likely be taking the forehand.
Me too. So, do you play more casual, or do you find yourself playing more on the competitive side when you get out to play?
So I I would probably say now it would be more competitive. Like I play a lot of leagues. Almost every weekend is a tournament. But when I first started, it was definitely more casual, like more seeing if I could check off more new courses to just try and expand my horizons on like types of courses like wooded or open. But now is definitely more tournaments. I feel like I'm getting practice rounds in a lot more for tournaments and more just preparation.
That's pretty cool. So, what's the disc golf scene like in your area? A lot of courses nearby, or do you have to kind of travel a little bit to get to different courses?
I would say it's a very great disc golf area here where I am. There is a lot of courses, and I feel like within a 30-minute radius, there's maybe around 30 courses, all kind of different difficulties, I would say. So you can kind of get whatever you need.
That's
So
super. That's super cool. Do you prefer wide open or wooded?
I lean more towards wooded. I feel like there's more of a
Ooh.
challenge there. And there's not around me, there's not many open courses. So I guess I don't really have a fair comparison.
Yeah,
So
I guess it's a valid reason.
yeah.
So, what is school like for you, being like a disc golfer? Like, do kids at your school understand like how good you actually are, or are they just kind of like, it's disc golf. I don't really understand it.
Probably more the second one. I feel like there's a lot of kids that know that I play disc golf. Um, just through my Instagram page, and they just found my Instagram page. But I guess they wouldn't say that they know how competitive I actually play because, you know, like I said, playing tournaments every weekend, like it's kind of like any other sport, like you have a basketball tournament this weekend and I have a disc golf tournament this weekend. So yeah, I guess they just don't know like the level that I play to, but they know that I play.
Yeah. Just wait till they find out and they're like, oh my goodness, did you see this kid? This kid is insane.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully.
So is disc golf your only sport, or do you do like baseball and some other sports as well?
I used to. So I used to play baseball and basketball. And then as I got older and like the competition in the other sports got like tougher, I found myself needing to make a lot more of like a time commitment. And actually found myself having more fun playing disc golf. Like that was when I first started playing tournaments and I was like, man, this is really fun. So I decided to stop playing both the sports, and I think I made the correct decision because I'm having a lot of fun playing disc golf competitively and casually, meeting a lot of new people, a lot of new friends.
Yeah. So out of your previous sports, what sport helped transition better in disc golf?
I would say definitely baseball. Just kind of throwing the baseball is not really the same as a forehand, but you kind of have to just lean your body a little more, and then you kind of have a sidearm
Mm-hmm.
like throw. And then kind of swinging the bat too. If you like take the bat away and then take your left hand away and only swing with your right arm, then it kind of looks like the forehand form. And I feel like that's why I've met a lot of younger kids who play baseball who throw a backhand left hand and a right hand forehand. And it's because the swing of the bat like leads into that motion a lot easier. So
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Like, because I started recently learning how to backhand, and that was one of the things that like people were telling me were is like swinging a bat, but with the opposite arm that you're
yeah.
used to. I was like, oh,
Mhm.
never really thought of that.
Yeah, there's a lot of motions that are very similar that you would never think of in like completely opposite sports. So,
Yeah. So, how do you train for disc golf? Do you like lift weights? Do you do any cardio, or do you just get out and do your practice rounds and field work?
yeah, mainly I do a lot of putting, practice putting. Um, I do a lot of casual rounds. I get out a lot to play disc golf. and not as much field work as I would like, but I feel like I get a lot more practice playing on the course because
Mhm.
rather than going out into the field and just kind of throwing, seeing what your disc flies like and practicing all your angles, I feel like practicing like hitting gaps on the course or like hitting your distances correctly on the course. For me, it helps me a lot more than just kind of going out into the field and throwing a bunch of discs.
Yeah. So for your putting practice, how do you practice your putts to make sure that your putt is effective when it comes to a tournament?
So I like to get some nice short warm ups in before going on to like 25, 30 footers. I don't really practice outside of the circle much, but I basically just bring five putters outside. And then how you kind of practice before a tournament is just putt all your putters, go grab them, and then go to like another random spot. So it's not all the same spot every time. And then it also helps outside because you're exposed to the elements as well. So like wind, so you can kind of practice how your disc carries in a headwind or a right to left, or kind of how it drops in like a tailwind. So I find that to help me a lot as well.
Now, are you a spin putter or push putter?
I would consider myself as a little bit of both. Um,
Okay.
I kind of bring it down and then I kind of flick my wrist a little bit, but I still use the motion of my arm to get some pop as well.
Okay, cool. So, do you have any tips for like people like when they're in a tournament and like they're struggling putting? How do you recover yourself to get yourself refocused and get back on track to making your putts?
Um, I just go up to my lie and I say to myself, yeah, you got this putt. Like it's kind of a mindset thing. Like try and forget all the previous putts that you may have missed. Maybe try a different aim point, try a different speed. You know, maybe the baskets aren't catching as well. So maybe you have to switch up your putt a little bit for it to land softer. But just try not to switch up too much and just try and think positive thoughts about your putting.
Yeah. So, what has been like? What would you say is the biggest key to your success?
I would say definitely my practicing. I would like to say that I'm outside practicing most of the day, getting out to the courses, playing some casual rounds, but also my mindset. I like to think that I don't get angry out on the course and I don't like get all frazzled, I guess, and like just completely throw away my round. I kind of just stay composed and try to forget, have short memory, try forget about the mistakes I may have made and just try and continue on in the round.
Yeah. So, how do your parents help you with disc golf? Do they caddy for you? Do they coach you? Do they kind of keep your head on straight like during tournaments when you're struggling? Like, what's your parents' role?
So there's a always one of them that caddies for me every tournament. And I'm very blessed to have such amazing parents. They drive me, they give up so much of their time. Like it's such a big time sacrifice that most people might not know because these tournaments are 2 rounds a day and it takes all day. No matter what weather either. But I would say that because I'm the only one in the house that actually plays disc golf, they don't really know how they would kind of coach me and lead me through the course if I was struggling. So what they do is they just give me some positive words, some fist bumps. You know, they try and talk me out of some dumb decisions that I would make. Like if I'm trying to get too aggressive on like a scramble, they'll just say, "Hey, why don't you just pitch out and take your bogey instead of maybe taking a double or worse?" So they kind of just are there for the mindset and not really like the choices that I make in my disc selection, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that mindset definitely plays a huge role. Like especially for like me and you who know like understand tournament play, where sometimes you just get stuck in this mindset and you can't just stop and it's like a self destruct and then
Yeah.
it just takes forever to pull yourself out. So that's huge that they're able to do that and help you out.
Yeah.
So who do you look up to on the pro tour? Like who's the guy that you like look up to and you kind of like look at what he's doing and try and emulate that?
Well, there's a lot of different aspects of like different players that I like. Like I whenever I watch Anthony Barella and all those huge distance players, I'm kind of daydreaming like, man, what if I could throw a putter, 400 feet? Like that's insane. Or like Ricky's putting, like how I can just find a zone after making one putt and then just make everything inside of 70 feet. But I would say a big one is definitely Isaac Robinson because I am very forehand lenient and he is not at all, but he can hit whatever size gap with any angle of the backhand with any disc any day of the week. And I look up to that a lot and I'm practicing to try and have a backhand like him.
Yeah, Isaac's spent money since he switched to Latitude.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking, maybe because after watching a couple pros switch, it's kind of like they're going down and then they come back up eventually. But Isaac just kind of stayed on an upward trend, no matter the company switch. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah, that just shows on how solid his game is, and like Ricky as well. He's jumped so many times, and yet he's always been up there competing.
Yeah, Ricky too is a great example because he's been with a lot of different companies and just never seemed to like go down, never seemed to be out of the win like ever, despite those company switches.
Yeah, and the second that he feels the momentum and gets the crowd in it, he's unstoppable.
Yeah, I like that. I like that about watching Ricky because his very, what do you call it? Animated celebrations. I like to watch that. His big claps and his running in his 80-foot putts. It's so fun to watch.
Yeah. So with Gannon Burr being on such a tear lately and being like the number one player in the world, what of his game do you look at and like, man, I want to start getting that in my game?
Just his consistency, his ability to just break down courses. It barely looks like he's throwing the disc and it still goes 500 feet, which I think is insane. But he's also a great forehand and backhand player. So it seems like he's just good at everything in the game. His putting is awesome. He can throw really far. He has a forehand that's really good. And he's just consistent every tournament. Like his worst finish this year was 10th place, which is crazy to think. That's his worst finish.
Yeah, and with the most recent rating update, is he now the highest rated player ever?
I believe he is, yes, which is also crazy.
Yeah. How'd you do with the rating update?
So I pushed up 5 more points to 957.
Nice.
What about you?
I went down. I knew I was going to go down this year because I decided to go after learning a backhand. So I went from last year where I was just forehand only, would never throw a backhand, and then this year I was like, all right, I need to start learning a backhand because it's getting too hard to forehand everything.
Yeah, you can only go up.
Yes.
From here,
so
the backhand will only get better.
Yep. So that's kind of, I was willing to accept the taking of a hit down just because I'm learning something new.
Yeah.
And now that I have it, I feel like okay, now we can start bringing it back up. So
yeah, that's really cool.
So what are you throwing this season? What is in your bag?
I have a bunch of different discs of like all different brands. I'm putting with daggers, but then once I get into like mid ranges, it's mostly Discraft. Fairway drivers is just a jumbled mix of like anything. And then distance drivers, I would say, is also just a jumbled mix of anything. So it's just a big variety of any disc. So
Yeah. I'm reading a comment that we got metal yellow, fresh red metal. I don't know what that is. Maybe you'll be able to see and understand that. It might be a joke for you and your buddies or something.
Oh, I don't know.
I have no idea.
Is it a secret language?
I have no idea.
That is weird.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I was like, maybe you'll understand that because I had no idea what that was.
Yeah, I don't know.
And then we have another comment here. Let's see if I can hold on. I gotta. You able to read that? Because I gotta look really close for it.
Oh yes. Yes, that is a local guy who I play leagues with. So he's very nice as well.
That's pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's definitely really cool to see it. You're getting recognition from your local scene. So that's always a positive sign.
Yeah. I've really just been so blessed to have this much support from my sponsor, Ace Time, but also just the community. Like it's incredible how much support that I've gotten.
Yeah. So the first time I seen your thing, Acetimepaul, I was like, man, this kid must be able to just turn around and run aces anytime he wants.
I am actually not very good at ace running. I only
Oh, really?
yeah, I don't know what it is. It's just kind of I just can't really explain it. Like just kind of a weird thing. I don't know.
How many aces do you have?
So right now I have 5.
Ooh, okay.
So
Any during tournaments or just casual?
just some casual, but there was, I believe, 3 of them were my first shot off the tee, and then 2 of them were second
Ooh,
shot. So
that's really cool. So, have you ever thrown the sake bomb felon? Did you ever try that one?
I haven't thrown it, but I've thought about buying one a lot, like kind of every time I see them, because right now I'm on the Raptor, and I know that they are very similar, but my Raptor's kind of getting a little beat in. So, oh, is that?
You need to get your hand. That's the brand new intent. You need to get your hand on this one ASAP.
Oh, really?
It drops July. It drops July 16th.
Oh, is that's like the replacement, right?
Yes. And the official numbers have been released, and I was actually right. Like, I was right on with them of what I was thinking when I threw it. So the numbers are a 5, 4.5, and then it's a 3. So it's less stable than the felon and more glidey. So when
Okay.
you throw it on a flex, you get a super glidey S curve.
All right. Yeah, I will definitely have to get one of those.
Yeah, definitely. So if you got the opportunity to get sponsored by any manufacturer, what manufacturer would you try and zone in on?
I would say right now, definitely Discraft. I feel like I bag a lot of their discs, and I've also thrown a lot of their discs. But then there's also Innova. Like I've thrown pretty much every slot in my bag, I've thrown an Innova disc for. So I feel like both of them could be pretty seamless, like switches. So
Yeah, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I've only ever thrown Trilogy, so I've never tried any other plastic. That's only manufacturers I've ever tried.
Trilogy is
So
great though. Trilogy is, yeah.
yes,
If you're gonna throw, one manufacturer type of disc, Trilogy is a great choice.
yeah, definitely. So, what was it like competing at Junior Worlds, and how did you like? Did you have to qualify for it, and what was that like?
So to get into Junior Worlds, it was points, I believe. So however well I placed in the tournaments that I played leading up to Junior Worlds, I would get more and more points, kind of like they do on the Pro Tour. And then at the very end, whoever has the highest points gets the most strokes going into the final day. So I had enough points to get the invite. I believe it was the third round of invites. So I signed up as quick as I could. And, you know, we went there just last week, and it was just such a great experience. The courses were incredible. There was so many volunteers out there, like everywhere, doing some last minute cleanup or like putting up some, hospitality tents with snacks. And it was just such an amazing event to be able to plan.
Yeah. What do you think of the courses? Were the courses different than what you're used to playing?
So I would say they were pretty similar to the courses by me, unless if the courses were on a ski hill, though, because the courses were very hilly, very elevation, and they were also pretty wooded. So I had to hit some tight gaps, throw down and up some hills, but I was kind of reminded a little bit of here. So
That's pretty cool. So, what was the biggest lesson that you learned while at Junior Worlds?
definitely that, you know, you will have some good rounds and that you will have some bad rounds. Um, I had some pretty good rounds, and then I had some rounds that were below my rating. But overall, I feel like I played very well for how I usually play. And probably another lesson is that just to have fun, just enjoy where you are. Because looking back, it was just such a fun experience to play with kids my age, to play new courses, to try and, figure out what I was going to throw on some holes because that was very challenging at times, and just play such an awesome event.
That's so cool. What was your biggest highlight throw at Junior Worlds?
Oh, I definitely have one. So going into, I believe it was round two, it was, I kind of was struggling with nerves, and we got to hole four, and I threw a nice tee shot on a par four, but it kicked a tree and it left me with around 180 feet to the basket. And then I threw a forehand approach, and I guess I threw it a little too hard and it just went in the basket for the eagle. So,
Oh, no
yeah.
way. That is so awesome.
Yeah, and I ran it in. I was like, "Let's go." Cuz I think that was my first ever eagle, like ever.
Oh my
And for it
God.
to in tournament like that style as well, I was so happy.
What was the disc that you forehand?
I forehanded a zone.
Oh, okay.
So,
Heck yeah, that's
yeah,
awesome.
it was just
What was your biggest putt of the tournament?
oh, I would probably say there was a lot of them. I hit a lot from circle 2. I feel very confident from circle 2, but I would say there was one that I was nearly outside circle 2, and it was kind of a downslope behind the basket, and I just said, "You know what? Let's give this a nice soft run. You know, if it airballs, I can make the comebacker. It won't go too far because I kind of tried to float it a little bit, and I put it on a nice S line of a putt, and it just went in. And I was like, oh, let's go. Because it was kind of a momentum shift too in the round. So
That's so cool. So, is it a plan to try and qualify for next year and get back to Junior Worlds?
it is definitely a plan. I'm hoping that I can qualify for next year because it is in Peoria next year. So it won't be too far of a drive for us from where we're at. So that's also something to look forward to. But also, it is courses that I've played before and that I can get more practice rounds in. So
Uh, have you've played a lot of courses outside your state, right? You've kind of traveled a lot.
I would say mainly just big courses, not like, small courses that not many people know about, but like Northwoods Black, I've been to a couple times. I played the Canyons at Delwood, which I believe is the number one course in Illinois. And I played a couple of them that are used in Ledgestone as well. So, yeah, I would say I've played a few outside of the state.
That's pretty cool. What's the next big tournament that you have coming up in your schedule?
I would say the next big one is definitely Ledgestone. I'm going to be competing in MA1 this year, and I'm very excited because
Ooh,
MA1 field gets to play Eureka Temp, and I've never played it before, and I always get very excited when I get to play courses that I've watched on TV, watched the pros play. It's just kind of a different feeling. Like you step up to the first tee pad and you say, "Hey, like Gannon Burr and stuff has been here, like on this tee pad." It's a cool feeling.
yeah. Speaking of Ledgestone, yeah, a lot of people that I know are going to Ledgestone this year, and it's pretty cool. Like Dez, he's been on this show, and he the stairway to Ledgestone. He got
Oh yeah,
accepted. Yep.
that's
So he'll
awesome.
yeah, so he'll be there.
Yeah, Ledgestone is insane. They always have like 2,500 people that sign up, and it's like the biggest turnout every year. And it's just crazy to think that there's so many people there.
Yeah. So with Am Worlds coming to Buffalo, have you heard any chatter from like in your local scene of anybody coming up this way to play in it?
Not really at all. I've never played Am Worlds. I've never really like put an interest into Am Worlds. I feel like after playing Junior Worlds and Ledgestone now for the past 2 years, I feel like Am Worlds is kind of like out of it because I feel like two big trips because like I said, it is a big time sacrifice. So I feel like
Yeah.
two big trips is plenty, especially for my parents too, because they're not cheap. They're not cheap
No.
trips. So
Yeah. That's still pretty cool that your parents are able to do that and they're that dedicated to your disc golf career. So
yeah,
definitely kudos to them.
for sure, for sure.
So as we're wrapping this up, got any questions for me?
Yeah, I was wondering, you know, how far has your backhand actually come? Like how much more confident are you feeling with accuracy and like gap hitting, distance?
A million times. So when I first started backhanding, I skipped the whole like when I learned disc golf, I skipped the whole process of doing standstills and working your way up. I as soon as I started, like my forehands were just full power forehands, like full step in. That's what I learned. So I did the same thing with my backhand, and it was atrocious.
Mm,
I never knew where the disc was going to go. Never knew if it was going to go left, right, up, down, and
yeah.
then the power control was just not there. So now I've worked with Coach T from Slingshot Disc Golf, and he's broken my form down to the point where we scrap the whole walk up thing. Now I start pre-turned, and it's literally 2 steps, and I can just fire it, and I know exactly where it's gonna go, and I can control the power to it. So it's like it is so cool to finally be able to do that.
Yeah, that's awesome. When you just kind of build the confidence, it just feels so much better when you know, hit a line in your round and you're like, man, that's what I've been working to do this whole time. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
And then
We're,
I was wondering too, if you had a favorite disc, what would it be?
favorite disc. Ooh. Well, it was the Saki Bomb Felons. Like like in my area, I was known for throwing the Saki Bomb Felon like as much as I could. But now with the brand new Intents coming out, that's what's taking over as the new favorite.
Okay, yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah. I love throwing the flex line on a forehand. It looks so cool, and then it's so accurate. Like I can pinpoint exactly where it's gonna come down.
Yeah, so fun to watch those S-line shots.
Yeah, that's it's funny because people ask me all the time, like, do you do a lot of field work? I'm like, yeah. They're like, why? And it's like, dude, I just like love watching the disc fly, and like that's the only opportunity that you really get to watch the full flight.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Where did you learn your backhand form from? Did you break your form down or self-taught, or did you kind of look at a pro and break down their form and try and copy it?
So at the beginning, I used to round over a lot, kind of more like a frisbee throw and not a disc golf. And then when I first started going to leagues, I first started going to leagues that were around an hour away from me. And there I met a guy who ran the leagues, and he just helped me like get some motions in and say, like, hey, if you think about what he did for me was he said, if you think about pulling a lawnmower string to start it up, that's kind of what your motion is if you're doing it sideways. So he just said, start standing still, just make sure you focus on the reach back. And then once you feel confident with that, start adding some run up steps. So I was kind of mentored by him, and he kind of showed me some slow-mo videos of pros and how their reach back looks, how they're kind of reaching it away from their body and not like rounding into their side. So it was very he was very helpful for me to like watch how my form looked compared to pros. So
That's really cool. It's always awesome when those local guys will take a newer player under their wing and kind of teach them.
yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. So the final question I have for you tonight is, what are your goals for this season, and how can people follow your disc golf journey?
So my goals for the rest of the season, um, with Ledgestone coming up, I want to play well, but I also just want to continue having fun in the sport. Just, maybe be more committed in the field work or try and get out for more putting reps, um, and just have a lot of fun doing it, not just have to think that I'm forced to do this because I have so much fun playing and I just want to have more fun. I don't ever want to lose the thought of like just having fun.
Yeah. And then where can people follow you so they can follow you along your disc golf journey?
Yeah, so my Instagram, Acetimepaul, and then that's pretty much it. I think we're probably going to be trying to come out with a YouTube channel for Team Ace Time,
Yes.
my sponsor. So we're probably going to be making some content on that pretty soon. So,
Yeah, definitely let me know. I'll definitely watch that.
all right, will do.
All right, cool. Hey, thank you for coming on tonight, buddy.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. It was a blast.
Yeah, definitely. Have a good